Remember in April of last year when Trump doubled down and said he wanted to deport even the homegrown American criminals? In other words, people that were born and raised here but committed crimes here, and he wants them to be able to be deported to these maximum security prisons like in El Salvador. That's what he wants. So here it is, in case you need a memory refresher. From April of last year, President Trump said on Fox Tuesday he would love to deport American criminals to be imprisoned in El Salvador. Repeating a controversial idea he spoke about Monday when meeting with El Salvador President Nayib Bukele, also a Zionist, by the way. So in the Fox Notice This interview with Rachel Campos Duffy, wife of Trump's Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, Trump said he was very impressed with Bukele for his help in deporting criminals with the prisons he has, leading Campos Duffy to ask if prisons in El Salvador could be used for our own violent criminals. Trump said he calls U.S. violent criminals homegrown criminals, and that his administration is looking into it, and we want to do it. I would love to do that, he says. Trump defined homegrown criminals as the ones who grew up and something went wrong, and they hit people over the head with a baseball bat and push people into subways just before the train gets there, like you see what's happening sometimes. Which, these people are mentally ill. They could be demonically possessed. And yes, they do these things. But now Trump wants to be able to deport them for doing it. And believe me, it's not just these people he wants to deport. Once he's got the ability to do it and it starts happening, he's just going to deport anyone that doesn't agree with him. And so here's more proof of this from an attorney who put up this video on originally on TikTok, but I found it on Facebook this morning. Check this out.
Evidence the U.S. is about to deport U.S. citizens. Here it is. I'm a lawyer in real life. I don't play one on television. And something happened this week that you need to see and hear in order to believe it.
My amendment is simple, and I hope that it has bipartisan support. It simply states that none of the funds in this bill may be used by Immigration and Customs Enforcement to detain or deport U.S. citizens. Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, I hope we can all agree that U.S. citizens should never be detained by ICE or any agency conducting civil immigration enforcement. They certainly should not be deported. This should not be a partisan issue.
Or murdered. They should not be murdered either. Just saying.
It's about protecting the most basic constitutional rights of U.S. citizens.
Not one Republican voted yes to this amendment.
Clerk will report.
Mr. Chairman, there are 11 ayes and 12 noes.
Not one Republican thought it was important enough to protect U.S. citizens and not use federal funds to deport their own constituents. So ask yourself, why vote against this if you're not intending to use it? Why not protect American citizens if it's not your plan to deport American citizens? You have to watch what they vote for, and most importantly, you have to watch what they refuse to protect. They have voted not to protect American citizens. We're no longer in the realm of science fiction or conspiracies. These things are actually happening. We know they have already deported children who are U.S. citizens.
Then there's this piece of work. His name is Greg Bovino from DHS, Border Patrol. Check this out.
Calling law enforcement names like Gestapo or using the term kidnapping. That is a choice that is made. There are actions and consequences that come from those choices. And then when someone chooses to listen to a politician, a so-called journalist, a community leader that spouted that type of vilification towards law enforcement or anything else, when you choose to listen to that, that is a choice, and there are consequences and actions there also. I think we saw that yesterday.
So in other words, he wants to police your thoughts, your speech, and your thoughts. There's consequences for saying things like Gestapo or Nazis, he says, in regards to law enforcement. Well, if you're acting like them, that's what I'm going to call you, whether you like it or not. Free speech isn't granted to me by my government, it's granted to me by my God. And the government was supposed to protect those rights. Instead, they're the ones violating them every single day of the week. But that's what these people think. They're above the law. They think they're far above you, and yet you're the ones paying, your tax dollars are the ones paying their salaries. There's no liberty anymore. There's no freedom in America. It's always been an illusion. Like it says here from Health Impact News. Liberty is dead. And in this instance, they shot Lady Liberty here, which we know is really not Lady Liberty, but anyway, because she was brandishing a torch. And now they're saying if you call law enforcement names, or if you even think about it, or if you listen to it and you agree with it in your mind, there are consequences for that. That's what Greg Bovino's saying here. That they can do this to you if you call them a name or think of them in that way. Unreal. I mean, like I said, they believe they're above the law. And then what about this one I put up yesterday? Hey, MAGA. Trump, your grand poobah, right? He says now you're a criminal if you carry firearms, legally or not. Here's what he said. He had a gun. Only criminals carry guns on our streets. We need law and order. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. So a Republican president wants to take your guns. It shouldn't be surprising if you look back in history in 1986, the gun control that was passed that year that gave us our faulty background check system and everything else now. Go check it out. The gun control legislation that was passed, some of the most draconian in American history, was signed into law by an American president named Ronald Reagan, who also said, make America great again. You see, they fooled you again. It's just 40 years later. Wow. Unbelievable. I pray, hope and pray some of you wake up before it's too late, or you're going to follow the Antichrist Donald Trump straight to hell. God bless, take care. Johnny Storm, Don't Speak News.